What happens when a CEO replaces a cashier and catches a manager quietly switching price tags on the floor? Bradley Newton stood behind the tinted glass of his office, arms crossed, eyes fixed on the quarterly reports in front of him. 17 stores. His father built them from the ground up, discount home goods and furniture, low prices, no frills, but now, a few locations were underperforming. Store 15 in particular had been bleeding customers for months. Yelp reviews mentioned rude staff, weird pricing, and one even claimed they were charged more than the shelf tag said. Bradley didn't want another sugar-coated update from a district manager. He needed to feel the floor himself. "I'm going in," he muttered. He shaved his beard clean, dyed his hair darker, and wore thick-rimmed glasses. A thrift store hoodie, jeans, and an old ball cap completed the look. The name tag read Greg. Nobody at Store 15 had ever met the CEO in person. His father had always kept distance from the staff, and Bradley had inherited that same arm's-length leadership. Until now. He walked into the back office on a Tuesday morning when the store was short-staffed. That was another red flag. Why were they always short? The assistant manager, a wiry guy named Trent, looked aggravated as he rushed toward him. "You the new guy?" Trent asked, not bothering to look up from his clipboard.
"Yeah."
"Greg. I was told to report here." "Whatever. Put him on register." Trent barked to the girl behind the counter. That girl was Zara Fitz, maybe 22, with a tired face and a calm voice. She handed Bradley a quick start guide, showed him the POS system, and helped him through his first few customers. Every time a customer looked frustrated, she handled it with patience. Midway through the shift, Zara leaned over. "Don't trust Trent with anything important. He's been weird about pricing lately," she whispered, eyes flicking toward the back. Bradley didn't respond. He just nodded slowly. Around noon, Zara stepped away for lunch. Trent came to the floor, holding a roll of barcode stickers. Bradley noticed he wasn't restocking. He was peeling off price tags from certain shelves, mostly electronics and higher-end kitchen gear, then replacing them with higher prices. Bradley blinked, pretending to focus on the register. A customer brought a blender up. "Tag said 39, she said, squinting at the screen showing 59. Trent walked over fast. "Nah, it's always been 59. You saw it wrong." The woman looked confused. "I swear it was. Do you want it or not?" Trent snapped. Bradley's jaw tightened. The woman shook her head and left. Trent turned to him. "If anyone asks, it's always been that price."
"Got it."
Bradley forced a nervous laugh.
"Right."
"Sure." Later, in the break room, Bradley sat next to Zara. "Has he done that before?" he asked softly. Zara looked around.
"He does it all the time.
Tells customers they're wrong. I've seen him swap tags myself." "Why hasn't anyone reported it?" "Manager doesn't care. Trent covers her weekends. She needs him." Bradley sat back, silent. He felt something twist in his gut. The business his dad built was supposed to help people save,
not scam them.
By the end of the day, he'd seen enough. Trent had changed at least 10 tags, argued with 2 customers, and ignored 3 staff calls for help. Zara, on the other hand, skipped her break to help a mom who couldn't lift a shelf display. She smiled through every rude customer, never once losing her cool. Before he left, Zara stopped him. "You're not like the others," she said. "You actually listen." Bradley gave a small nod. "Thanks, Zara." She smiled faintly. "You'll do fine, Greg." He walked out into the cold evening, heart racing. Tomorrow, he'd be back. And he wasn't going to be quiet anymore. Bradley showed up the next morning 20 minutes early. The parking lot was still dark, except for a single light in the back office window. He walked in through the employee entrance and found Zara already there, restocking batteries near the register. "You open too?" he asked. "Every Tuesday and Thursday," she said, not looking up. "I live close." Bradley nodded and picked up a box of LED bulbs that had been left near the returns counter. The air felt tense, like everyone was waiting for a shoe to drop. 30 minutes passed before anyone else arrived. Trent strolled in with a half-empty energy drink and a Bluetooth earbud in one ear. He didn't acknowledge either of them as he passed. Bradley noticed something new today, a short woman with a limp stacking tissue boxes near the seasonal aisle. She moved carefully, her right leg dragging slightly. The name tag said Marcy. She looked around constantly, as if expecting someone to tell her to hurry up. Trent passed her a few minutes later. "That's crooked. Fix it before you clock in," he barked. "I was just trying to, don't talk. Just fix it." Bradley caught the quick wince on Marcy's face. She bent down awkwardly, adjusting the boxes without another word. He walked over, picking up a few from the bottom to help her even it out. "You're not on that," Trent snapped at Bradley from across the store. "Go clean up the clearance aisle. Some kid spilled cereal or something." Bradley didn't answer. He walked toward the mess, jaw clenched. The cereal had been smashed into the floor, sticky from someone stepping in it hours earlier. No one had touched it since. He grabbed a mop from the back and got to work. As he cleaned, a man in slacks and a corporate badge walked by, chatting on the phone. Must have been regional. Trent followed behind him like a shadow, nodding and laughing at everything he said. Neither of them even glanced toward the mess. By noon, the store was busy. The registers backed up, and only Zara and Bradley were there to handle the line. Marcy was still on the floor, now limping worse than before. Trent remained in the office, occasionally stepping out to criticize someone, then vanishing again. A woman with 2 toddlers approached Bradley's register with a cart full of items. As he scanned, he paused at a set of non-stick pans. The tag on the shelf had said 24, but the system rang it at 38. "That's not right," she said, frowning. Bradley called out to Trent. "Price discrepancy on aisle 4. Can I get a check?" Trent walked over, didn't even glance at the shelf, and said, "That's the right price. Tell her it's 38 or put it back." The woman looked at Bradley. "I just saw the tag. It said 24. I can show you." Trent stepped forward. "Lady, we don't need a tour of the aisle. The price is on the register. That's what it is." The woman blinked, stunned. She slowly pulled her kids back and left the cart behind. Bradley turned to Trent. "We should at least check. For the record." Trent leaned in close. "You want to run this store, Greg? Or you want to keep your part-time hours?" Bradley said nothing. He turned back to the register and began voiding the items from the abandoned cart. After the rush, Zara pulled him aside near the loading dock. "He's been doing it worse lately," she said. "And not just prices. Sometimes he tells Marcy to clock out early and still make her close." Bradley raised his eyebrows. "That's illegal. She won't report him. She's scared. He told her no one would believe her anyway." He paused. "Has anyone tried calling HR?" Zara laughed once, dry and bitter. 3 people called this year. 2 of them quit. The other got transferred to a store an hour away. Bradley felt the weight of a toxic system hidden behind quarterly reports and fake smiles. An hour later, during a lull, he walked to the back office. Trent had his feet up on the desk, watching something on his phone. "You got a second?" Bradley asked. Trent didn't look up. "Make it fast. I noticed the blender shelf tags don't match what's in the system." "Might be worth," Trent waved a hand. "Don't worry about it. I'm just saying it's confusing for customers." "Maybe we should." Trent finally looked up. "Are you seriously bringing this up again? You're a registered jockey, not corporate. Stay in your lane." Bradley stood there for a second, then nodded. "Got it." As he turned to leave, he saw a clipboard on the desk. It had employee hours logged manually, with several entries crossed out and rewritten. Marcy's name appeared, often always clocking out early, but her closing duties were still assigned. That night, as the store wound down, Zara helped a teenage boy find a replacement charger for his tablet. Marcy wiped down tables near the front, even though her leg was clearly shaking. Trent stood at the front counter, arguing with a vendor over the phone about a shipment, using language that made two nearby customers leave. Bradley approached Marcy gently. You okay? She flinched slightly.
Fine.
Just need to finish this. You off the clock? She hesitated. Not supposed to say. You're safe with me. She looked up at him then, eyes cautious. He makes me clock out early. Says labor hours are too high. But if I leave things dirty, he writes me up. Bradley felt something inside him snap. Go home.
Right now.
You're not finishing anything else. She looked confused. What? You've done more than enough. Go home. I'll cover the rest. She stared at him, unsure whether to believe it. But then she limped toward the break room without another word. 10 minutes later, Zara passed him near the back. She's never left before cleanup. Tonight she does, Bradley said. He waited until Trent walked past again, then stepped out from behind the counter.
Hey.
Got a problem with the timesheets. Trent groaned. What now? You've got people clocking out early, but still staying to finish their shift. That's wage theft. Trent scoffed. You think you're some kind of hero? Everyone does it. It's how you keep margins tight. You don't like it, there's the door. Bradley took a breath. You sure you want to say that? Trent stepped closer. You think I care? You're a temp cashier. You'll be gone next month. Bradley looked him straight in the eye. You're done here. Trent laughed. What? Bradley pulled out his real ID and placed it on the counter.
I'm Bradley Newton.
Trent's face drained of color. He blinked once, then twice, his voice suddenly small. I didn't mean I saw everything. From the price tag switches to how you treat employees. You can collect your things and leave. Effective immediately. Trent opened his mouth, then closed it again. I'll have HR follow up. But you will not step foot in this store again. Zara stood frozen a few feet away, eyes wide. Marcy had paused near the door, watching. Bradley turned to them. Everyone else please stay. We've got work to do. The store felt different the next morning. Not better, just quieter, like the tension had been temporarily unplugged. When Bradley arrived, the early shift was already scrambling to reset displays that had been neglected for weeks. A few employees glanced over at him, uncertain. No one said anything. He pulled on his Greg name tag again, out of habit, but he didn't step behind the cash register. Instead, he headed straight to the office. The store manager, Denise, was sitting at the desk with a half-finished cup of coffee and a stack of vendor invoices in front of her. She didn't look up.
Morning, Bradley said.
She froze for half a second, then slowly raised her eyes. I heard, she said. He called me last night. Bradley took a seat across from her. We need to talk about your oversight here. Denise closed the folder in front of her. I didn't know he was doing all that. You knew enough. You knew he was cutting labor corners. You knew complaints were up. And you knew he was the one left in charge whenever you were off. She kept her hands folded. We're stretched thin. Corporate's been pushing headcount reductions. I trusted him to manage the floor. You didn't show up when it mattered, Bradley said. You let someone else run this place into the ground. Denise leaned back. If I get fired, just say it. You're not being fired.
Not yet.
But you're off the schedule until further notice. You'll meet with HR this afternoon. Until then, I'm running this store. Denise didn't argue. She gathered her purse in silence and left the office. Bradley stood and looked around. The desk was cluttered, half-used reports, sticky notes, old schedules with names scratched out and rewritten. He picked up a payroll sheet and saw what looked like a bonus payout to Trent from 3 weeks earlier. It had been marked Sales Recovery Incentive. The amount was significant. He left the office and found Zara near the front, folding reusable bags into a bin. How many people are actually scheduled today? 5, including me. And Marcy said she might be late. Her bus didn't show up. Bradley looked around. Two of the newer hires were already manning the floor, but they looked overwhelmed. Boxes from yesterday's shipment were still stacked near the entrance. Take the register. I'll handle the back stock. Zara paused. You sure? You've been carrying this place long enough. He grabbed a box cutter and started breaking down the shipment. As he worked, he kept an eye on the sales floor. Customers were trickling in, but the store was slow. Weekdays always were. Still, every aisle felt like it was operating one person short. By late morning, Marcy arrived, limping worse than before. She didn't say anything as she clocked in, but her face was pale. Bradley pulled her aside near the employee lockers. You're not cleared to work today.
Fine.
You're not. You're in pain, and you're exhausted. Have you seen a doctor? She hesitated. I can't afford to take time off. You're going home. I'll make sure your pay is covered. And I'll get you a referral for a clinic in the company network. No out-of-pocket costs. She looked confused. Why are you doing this? Because no one else did. Marcy didn't argue. She gathered her things and left. Bradley headed back to the floor. A group of customers were crowding around the seasonal aisle. A man in a red flannel shirt was holding up a blender, arguing with a younger cashier who looked completely lost. This says $24.99. You're trying to charge me $39. The cashier stammered. I think the system hasn't updated yet. It's false advertising. You can't just change prices at the register. Bradley stepped in. Sir, I'm the acting store manager. Let me take care of that personally. The man looked him up and down. Finally, someone who knows what they're doing. Bradley gently took the blender, walked to the shelf, and scanned the tag. The barcode didn't match the item. A different product's tag had been left there either from laziness or on purpose. He returned and spoke calmly. You're right. That tag's incorrect. We'll honor the lower price. The man nodded, satisfied. But as Bradley rang him up, he caught a glimpse of a familiar face at the end of the aisle. It was a teen named Devin, one of the newer hires watching from behind a display of plastic bins. When the customer left, Bradley approached him. You were on restocking yesterday, right? Devin nodded. Were you the one who updated the blender shelf? Devin shifted uncomfortably.
Yeah.
But Trent told me to grab the old tags from the clearance aisle. Said it was faster than printing new ones. So, he instructed you to use the wrong tags? I mean, he didn't say they were wrong. Just said to make it look clean. Bradley exhaled. Thanks for being honest. Devin looked nervous. Am I in trouble?
No.
But from now on, if someone asks you to do something that feels off, come to me. Devin nodded and hurried off. Bradley walked back to the office and pulled up the inventory system. He began sorting through flagged item entries, anything with recent price overrides. A pattern emerged. Certain high-margin items had been adjusted manually at least twice a week. The overrides were always logged under a shared manager account. He printed the records and set them aside. HR would need them. By mid-afternoon, the store was sliding into another rush. Zara was juggling 3 tasks at once: register, customer returns, and answering floor calls. Bradley stepped in to take the register, waving her to the back.
Go take 5.
She looked skeptical. We're slammed. I'll cover it. She disappeared for a moment. When she returned, she had changed into a company-branded fleece jacket that had been folded in her locker. I've been meaning to ask, Bradley said as he scanned items. Why are you still here? Zara leaned against the end cap. Honestly, I was going to quit last month. But Marcy needed help with rent, and I couldn't leave her alone with Trent. Bradley glanced at her. You don't get paid to cover other people's lives. Someone has to care. He finished the transaction and handed the customer their receipt. You ever think about managing? Zara laughed. That a joke? I'm serious. You've got instincts. You see what people need before they even ask. I've never run anything. You already are. Just without the title. She didn't say anything, but her expression shifted curious, cautious. An hour later, a delivery truck arrived early. No one had been scheduled to receive it. Bradley and one of the stalkers, a quiet guy named Manuel, handled it themselves. As they unloaded, Bradley noticed that several boxes were labeled for another store. Wrong shipment. Has this happened before? He asked. Every couple weeks, Manuel replied. We call it in, but they don't fix it. Trent used to just stick it in a corner and forget about it. Bradley made a note. Another process failing silently. By closing time, the store looked better. Not fixed, not transformed, but cleaner. The displays had been reset. The register lines were short. No one had been yelled at, overworked, or ignored. As they locked up, Bradley gathered the team in the break room. 5 employees stood around him, tired, wary but listening. I'm not here to make speeches, he said. But I need you to know a few things. First, Trent's not coming back. That kind of behavior won't be tolerated again. Second, we're reviewing every price override and scheduling policy. If someone asks you to work off the clock or do something unethical, bring it straight to me. No one moved. I know a lot of you have been carrying more than your share.
That ends now.
Tomorrow, we'll be adding more staff and bringing procedures back in line. You'll get the support you've been asking for. Still no one spoke. Then Zara stepped forward. What happens when you leave? Bradley met her eyes. I'm not disappearing into a boardroom. I'll be here regularly. And I'll be listening. She nodded once. That was enough. As the team gathered their things and headed out, Bradley sat alone in the break room for a moment. He glanced down at the name tag, still clipped to his shirt. He took it off, set it on the table, and exhaled. Tomorrow, the real work would begin. By Friday morning, Bradley had already spoken with corporate HR, filed a formal misconduct review on both Trent and Denise, and authorized a temporary boost in labor hours for the store. It wasn't a permanent fix, but it allowed him to bring in 2 part-timers from a nearby location to help stabilize things. He didn't want anyone on the floor to burn out, especially not after what they'd endured. He arrived before opening and found Zara at the front, setting up the welcome kiosk with a new promotional display. The store had a different energy, not relaxed, not cheerful, but alert. Like everyone was cautiously waiting to see if the changes would stick. Morning, Bradley said, adjusting a crooked sign. You're early, Zara replied, eyes still on her work. So are you. She shrugged. Didn't sleep much. Bradley set down a clipboard. I've got something for you. Step into the office. She followed him back. The space was cleaner now, files sorted, desk cleared. The chaos Trent had left behind finally under control. Bradley handed her a sealed envelope with the company logo. She looked at it, then at him. What is this? It's a promotion offer. Interim assistant manager. Comes with a raise and full benefits. I want you to consider it.
She didn't open it.
Why me? You're already doing the role. This just makes it official. She looked hesitant. What happens when someone from corporate decides I'm not qualified? I'm the CEO. They'll listen. Zara ran her thumb along the envelope edge. I don't have a degree. I never even finished community college. I'm not interested in degrees. I'm interested in people who know how to lead. You've got judgment, you've got instinct, and your team trusts you. That's more than most managers I've met. She nodded slowly and tucked the envelope into her apron pocket. I'll think about it.
Good. No rush.
They returned to the floor just as the first customer walked in. The morning unfolded steadily, nothing dramatic, just the slow rhythm of a store trying to find its footing again. Around 11, Bradley noticed Devin struggling with a customer at the far end of the electronics section. He made his way over and caught the tail end of the exchange. The box says it's a combo pack, the customer said, holding up a Bluetooth speaker. But there's only one unit inside. Devin looked uncertain. Maybe it was repackaged? Bradley stepped in. Let me take a look. He examined the box. Sure enough, the original seal had been broken and retaped. A sticker on the bottom corner read, "Floor display sold as is," but it was faded and barely noticeable. Thanks for pointing that out, Bradley said to the customer. We'll honor it as a combo pack. And I'll make sure this doesn't happen again. After the man left, Devin looked at him. I didn't even know we sold floor displays. Usually we don't. That tag's probably from before the last inventory cycle. Devin frowned. Should I go check the other shelves? See if anything else is mislabeled.
Yes.
And if you find anything questionable, pull it. Don't wait. As Devin walked off, Bradley turned to Zara, who had been helping a customer nearby. Once the rush dies down, let's get someone to audit aisle 6. I want every shelf label verified. She gave a quick nod. Later that afternoon, Manuel approached Bradley near the back room. There's a vendor here. Says he's got a delivery, but it's not on our manifest. Bradley followed him outside. A short man with a clipboard stood near a truck idling at the curb. The boxes inside were marked with another store's location code. Sir, Bradley said, this shipment's not for us. It's labeled for store 21. The vendor scratched his head. Dispatch sent me here. Said your store requested a redirect. We didn't. And we don't have space to store overflow right now. The man nodded. I'll call it in. As the truck pulled away, Zara joined Bradley outside. I've been thinking, she said, arms folded. If I take the assistant manager role, can I change how the training's done? He looked at her. What do you mean? New hires don't learn anything. They get handed a binder and thrown on the floor. No shadowing, no walkthroughs, no real support. Bradley nodded. What do you need? 2 hours with each new hire. Just observation and walkthroughs. And I want to assign a peer mentor for the first week.
Done.
Write up the plan. I'll sign off on it. She blinked, surprised. That's it. You've already thought it through. I trust your judgment. As they turned to go back inside, a man in a dark jacket entered the store and walked straight to the counter. He was older, maybe late 40s, and had a tight, impatient expression. I want to speak to whoever's in charge, he said loudly. Bradley stepped forward. That's me. The man held up an item, a set of cookware. This was a gift. My wife tried to return it yesterday, and your employee told her it was final sale because she didn't have the receipt. Bradley glanced at the item. The barcode was faded, but still legible. Do you have the original packaging?
No.
It was a gift. Bradley motioned toward the register. I'll process the return myself. We'll issue a store credit for the current shelf price. The man narrowed his eyes. Why wasn't that done yesterday? I can't speak to yesterday. But I'll make sure it doesn't happen again. The credit was issued in seconds. As the man walked away, Zara leaned in. That was Trent's customer. He turned her away last week. Bradley didn't respond. He just made a note to audit all recent return denials. By evening, the team was dragging. They'd handled 3 vendor mix-ups, a burst pipe in the break room sink, and a rush of late customers who all needed help finding items in the nearly reset aisles. Still, no one complained. They were exhausted but focused, like they finally believed someone was paying attention. As they locked up, Bradley gathered the team near the entrance. You've all done more than I could ask, he said. Starting Monday, a full-time floor lead will be assigned to support you. We're reinstating structured breaks, and we're adjusting the scheduling software to prevent overstacked shifts. Zara raised an eyebrow. You're rewriting the system? I'm building a new one. Manuel took a step forward. You staying on pass this week? I'll be visiting weekly. And I've assigned a new district supervisor, someone I trust. She'll be here next Thursday to meet all of you. Devin looked skeptical. And if the next manager turns out like Trent? Bradley looked at each of them in turn. Then you call me directly. They believed him. As the team dispersed, Zara lingered near the door. "You were right," she said quietly. "About leading." Bradley gave a small nod. "You were always doing it. You just needed someone to say it out loud." She pulled the envelope from her apron. "I'm in." He smiled.
Good.
"Let's rebuild this place." As he stepped out into the night, Bradley paused at the edge of the lot. The store lights glowed behind him, still imperfect, still in progress, but no longer ignored. For the first time in months, he didn't feel like he was running a company. He felt like he was part of it again.